Is the Hockenheim maneuver what you do when somebody's choking? Is that? All right, Porsche Cup is headed to Hockenheim this week. Got ourselves a 140.841 on this this lap here. I think the fast guys are going to be doing 38s, 39s, someplace in there. I thought this was one of my better tracks, and maybe I'm just pushing myself very hard. This was the fastest lap I could get. I tried to get a faster one, but after several hours of coming really close and not quite getting it, I do spin out on the beginning of the lap following this one, so there's that. But this was the best one I was able to do. I guess without further ado, we'll show you the fast lap. We'll come back and we'll tell you how we did it. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit afterwards. Here we go.
Sector 1 is quick. Sector 2 time is okay. That was 140.84. That's your quickest lap.
All right, Porsche Cup fixed, Hockenheim, and we got ourselves a 140.841. Let's go through how we did it. I was about to say factory setup, fixed setup. I haven't touched the brake bias, anything like that. We are going flat out through the final, or the start finish straight here. We'll come talk about that that last corner when we get back to it. First braking point is going to be where this curbing starts right before the 100, and this one is a little bit tricky, this first corner, so we're gonna hit the brakes decently hard but for a very short amount of time here, and then we're gonna turn in right around where that 50 is, and we're gonna put our right tires this is so scary all the time. We're gonna put our right tires, once you get used to it, it's not so bad, but we're gonna put our right tires on the right hand side of this little sausage here. Boop. And we're just gonna put the rest of the throttle down once the car settles in. There we go. And we're just gonna keep our car not going any further over to the left because that would be an off track, but we're just gonna keep it going here, get it turned in just a little bit more. And this full throttle here. Our next braking point is going to be between the 150 and the 100, about halfway, a little bit before where this access road is. I kind of moved it around after I kept on trying to redo this, get a little bit better time. I couldn't do better than this one, so we hit the brakes pretty hard, like I said, about halfway between, a little bit before this access road here. And it is hard on the brakes, almost 100%, like 90 ish. And then we're gonna come off the brakes and trail in. It's really easy to spin the car on this corner. I found a lot of the corners on this track actually, especially when we're trying to push hard, but we're just lifting up on the brake pressure a little bit at a time, trailing into this corner. And then we're gonna start to come back onto the throttle. Got a lot of wheel in, so we got to be careful about when we put more throttle in, as you can see with these black marks here. As we straighten out the wheel, we're gonna put a little bit more throttle in, and then we're gonna get ready for this next corner here, which we should be able to take flat out. Every once in a while I had to do a little bit of a lift because I was taking it a little too hot and didn't have my line quite right. If we take too much curbing there, it's gonna mess things up. But we're just full throttle through here, and this is all full throttle for this whole straight. When we get to the 150, a little bit before the 150, we are gonna slam on the brakes. We're going so fast we can do 100% brakes without having to worry about locking up. And we're gonna start downshifting, using the engine to help with some auxiliary braking. But as we're starting to slow down, we're gonna have to let up on the brakes a little bit. Otherwise, if you hold that 100% too long, we'll lock up. So we're just letting off and downshifting as we come through. Kind of a gentle pace with the downshifting. But we're gonna get down to first for this corner here, and then kind of as we get close to the got so much wheel turned in, but we're gonna let off the brake, let it coast a little bit, and then we're gonna pick up a tiny bit of throttle, and we're gonna start feeding a little bit more throttle in as we start to straighten out the wheel until we do get straightened out. I got a little happy on it there, so I had to adjust, and then the rest of the way full throttle. And then this corner is flat out. And then as we approach the blue and white stripy curb up here is going to be our next braking point. And it's a decently heavy one. And we're going to try and get down to second as we come out here. Do I clip this time? A little bit. But we're coming back on the throttle as we get past the apex there. And we're going to straighten out the wheel. And put it down the rest of the way. Help a little bit with the rotation there. And then this corner, we're going to have a big lift as we approach. Almost all the way off the gas, and then as we get back to the apex here, we're going to start coming back onto the throttle. Got a lot of wheel in there. We're just going to keep partial and feeding more in as we start to straighten out the wheel, and then I think I jammed it a little bit to kind of help get the car turning a little bit more as we come out over here and we get onto the curb a bit. Might be able to take a tiny bit more, but not much. Then we're going to come up over here, and there's this break in the wall, which is kind of my breaking point, I'm pretty sure, on this lap. I found that you could go maybe a car length to half a car length past where the where this break comes out, like right there. I think is probably what I used this time, but you can go a little bit further than that. So yeah, that's where I start braking. I can go maybe a car length further, but it's a decent little jab on the brakes there. And then we're going to try and get back over to this this curbing over here, holding on that little bit of brake pressure as we're turning in. Just keep those front wheels a bit in. And then as we get over here, we're going to start putting the throttle back on. Just hold partial throttle until we can get the wheel straightened back out. And so we're getting straightened back out so we can get back onto the full throttle. We can come all the way out over here. And then our next braking point is going to be up by the a little bit before where the color the track changes color there. And yep, then we hit the brakes. And we're going to shift down to third here. Excuse me. And then just hold partial brake pressure. And then I hit second about halfway through the corner here, I believe. But we're just holding that little bit of brake pressure as we're turning through. Trying to keep it down on the bottom. And then we're going to feed a little bit of throttle on exit as we come around. And as we straighten out the wheel, we'll put the rest of the throttle in. And we can come out all the way over here on exit. I don't know if I do on this lap. And then we're gonna come on over to the left. This, if you take this at a funny angle, it's gonna mess you up. I lift a little bit here. You don't necessarily need to as long as you get the line right, but I was having trouble at this point in my practice where I'd hit this at a kind of funny way and it would spin me out. So I just have a little lift there. And we're gonna kind of, as we approach the end of this curbing here, is kind of where I start to hit the brakes again. We're just trying to get that turn in going. Rotate the car with a little bit of brakes, and then we're going to put the throttle, dance on the throttle. Kept on wanting to get on it beforehand, but so we're going to hit a little bit of throttle. Then as we kind of get the car straightened out, we'll put a little bit more in. Well, all the way back, and then we're going to lift so we can get the car turning for this next part of the corner. I dabbed the brakes just a tiny bit just to because I wasn't turning enough. And then we're going to put the throttle back in. And I had to adjust a little bit there. I had gotten on it a little too my lead foot was weighing me down there. We had to correct a little bit with the steering there. I don't know if you saw on the thing, but it's full throttle through the rest of it here. And we got ourselves a 148.41. So yeah, I thought Hockenheim was one of my good tracks. I'm gonna have to tone it back a little bit. Taking that first corner, I've spun out at so many different places trying to push hard to get better than that 148.41. I'm proud of the time. I think it's quick, but man, it was tough getting it. And we'll see how the races go. We'll see what other stuff we do. Vacillating. I had that last video. I tried some Formula 1 stuff over the weekend and it did not go well. But anyhow, if you want to watch along live when we do this kind of stuff, head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman. Thumbs up if you like the video, thumbs down if you didn't. If you feel like it, subscribe. It helps out. And we'll see you next time. Bye.